a searing pain on my leg.
And we're back. We are joined by our third, the great Caesar, aka LC's.
What is up, y'all? I need some Novocaine or whatever, lidocaine, whatever it is. Something to just ease the pain.
Whatever you got.
They might both help in this situation.
Some type of cane that'll make me forget about the pain.
That one too.
Yesterday,
yeah, well, maybe not that one. No chapter
yesterday
here.
I was in a ton of pain because I ate a Reaper tender from Dave's Hot Chicken.
Oh god.
And I ate it just fine. It was awesome. It tasted great.
It's a good place.
It tasted great. And then the next 6 to 7 hours after eating it were not so great.
I'm sure it also hurt on the way out.
Well, that
wasn't as bad either. It was all just strictly the intestine feel was real bad.
That's three things that salsa, spicy chicken, and Indian food. Those are the three things that I have a measurement for, and I can instantly tell the moment I put it in my mouth. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be fun the next time. I know where this is going.
Yeah.
All right, enjoy it
it's
while
too
it
bad
lasts.
because I like it. Yeah, and it tasted great. I couldn't.
I know exactly how this is
get
going
that
to
to work. So yeah, yesterday I was feeling my own type of pain. But we'll dive into this week's NFL segment.
Yes.
So Caesar, what you got while you're
all right, yo.
Before you pass out from the pain?
All right, y'all. Well, there is a lot that has happened in the last couple of days, even today as well. Today has been a newsworthy breaking type of day.
Yeah, for real.
All right, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up what we missed last week, which was combine talk. Now, the combine has come and gone, rather. And we know how everybody ran, how everybody lifted, all that good stuff. So here on the rundown, I got a list.
In theory, I think my only, and I'm just saying full disclosure, my only thing that I know about this is that Isaiah Bond said some stupid shit and got made a fool.
He made a fool of himself.
And then I saw Will Howard's pro day or his throwing.
Why was that notable?
It was pretty bad. I don't think he completed a pass.
You didn't see the Gunnar Henderson. You didn't see the Gunnar Henderson ankle story.
I breezed over it.
The first thing he was supposed to do was run a 40, and he tripped at the start.
Yeah.
Then he does the rest of the combine. Then later on,
you said the baseball player's name. You're talking about the Texas tight end.
Yeah. What did I say?
Yes, I did see that. I saw the ankle. Yeah. I already knew he was a football guy. And this is the first time I've ever seen a headshot of him. That is sinister football guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely draft that guy.
He did his entire combine with an ankle that now looks like it's a banana. It's like an overripe banana. It's like brown and bruised and
that was not.
Yeah, I think that is the extent of my knowledge, actually. Oh, and then there was also a beef between reporters.
Yeah, man. Jordan Schultz, and then it's not. Who was it?
Schefter.
No, it wasn't Schefter. It's the guy. Ian Rappaport.
No, Schefter made a joke tweet about it.
Okay. Yeah, and Schultz and Rappaport.
Schefter's kind of. It seems like he's kind of a regular dude, more or less. I felt like he's kind of.
They just have such a weird job because it's like they don't have any opinions. They're literally just saying things that agents have said to them. Or
that's why whenever they do break character, I try to take more notice. And I feel like when he breaks character, I'm like, you're a real person. I think. Woj and Shams kind of freak me out, but Shams is working on it. ESPN's giving him a little more room to grow here.
They need to take some of those beauty filters that he has away from him.
Woj was
Shams.
Oh no, man, I know, but that's a part of life. Woj was hilarious because he just wanted to spend time talking about St. Bonaventure basketball. He was just, how can I tie this in to the Bonnies? Because everybody wants to talk about the Bonnies.
Everybody. Now, y'all, aside from that, the beef that happened between Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz, where apparently Jordan Schultz cornered Rappaport, accosted him. It was just weird. I don't know the story behind that.
Could have killed him.
And it was at a Starbucks, too. I'm like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing?
That sounds exactly like the place something like this, like This all sounds very believable in the story, so I don't really need that many people to even confirm.
Yeah, absolutely not.
What was it about? I guess is the better question.
I don't know. Is it reporter beef?
So yeah, I think one of them posted something about the conversations between the Rams and some other team about Stafford and Brady, Rams and Brady, or Stafford and Brady, and then the other one was like, "That didn't happen like that. They just told you to say that." And then
they got mad because of who has Tom Brady resources.
I believe that was basically one guy calling out the other guy for.
You don't know Tom like I know Tom.
Tom would not do that. He would never.
Very, very dumb.
It sounds.
That business is
really
super
dumb.
intense, man. That is not a job for the weak-willed.
Not at all. Well, all dumb reporter beef aside, let's just talk about some of the other things that happened at the combine. We did, like you mentioned, we had Isaiah Bond put his foot in his mouth, saying that he was going to break Xavier Worthy's 40 record, and then immediately just shits the bed. Listen, a 4.4 40 is nothing to scoff at. It is when you say you're going to break the record for the 40-yard dash.
Usually, I would be ready to talk propaganda of him falling in the draft to the Cowboys because I need desperate stuff to happen. But even I'm getting a little bit to I don't even know if I want to deal with that right now.
Yeah, not at all. But you know what? It's funny that Matthew Golden, his teammate, was the one that came closest, even though
because Golden's for real. That dude's about to help an NFL team next year. And
he just shot his draft stock up in what is not regarded as a really good receiving class.
So, you think he passes Burden? I've seen Burden drop.
I don't think so. Because Burden is still a solid wide receiver. I mean, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds. I know, ran the 40-yard dash in a reasonable time.
I think McMillan will get away with the bullshit because of how he's built, but I do think Burden could slip.
Listen, McMillan, he's just the best overall wide receiver in this draft.
You can't pass up on that. Even if he's kind of limited in some ways, you just got to try that.
He's not the fastest guy in the world, and I guess there's a reason he didn't run the 40. But dog, he is an absolute dog.
I think he might have something about his body, especially if you have a team where you're it just depends on where you're drafting a lot of these guys in the NFL. It's always a big factor.
And one thing that we saw with Teddy McMillan is he cooked Travis Hunter, who's arguably the best corner in this draft, when they faced each other. So
that's a good one. That's a good one to have.
That's a good one to have in your book. So, but we're gonna talk, guys, about at least if anybody stood out to us, and I wanted to bring a stand out, somebody that y'all should keep an eye on, and it is Armand Membo. All right, because that man is an athletic fucking freak. So he is a tackle in college. I believe he's going to be a guard in the NFL just based on his size, right? He's 6'4", 330. I don't know about his arm length. I don't think it's a big deal. Because we've had 6'4" left tackles who are heavy set, like, for example, Jason Peters, who just retired. But man, at 6'4", 330, the guy ran a 4.91. He had a 10-second split time of 1.74. So what does that mean for those who don't think a 40 times important for a lineman? It just means he's explosive, and that, listen, what you really care about is the first 10 yards, because you want to know that he can get to a spot before, say, a really athletic linebacker can get to that spot and fuck up a play. And he has everything that you need.
Oh, he played at Missouri.
Yes,
that's what it was. Okay,
he's one of the few bright spots on that Missouri team that really fizzled hard.
Well, he passed the propaganda take because I was like, is this someone the Eagles are explicitly targeting? And then now I'm finding out that he could jump to tackle one.
Yeah, I mean, he shot his draft stock through the roof. Who knows where he goes in the draft? He could end up being at the top. There's talk of Will Campbell, I think, out of LSU.
Yeah, Will Campbell's the name I keep hearing because I think the Cowboys at 12 could go there, and so I have been paying attention to tackle.
Yeah, that's
more than I would begrudgingly, but
yeah.
And
guys like Kelvin Banks, I think, hurt their draft stock out of Texas. Did not have a great combine, and didn't have a great end to his season this past season. So you look at him, he's like, ooh, you're kind of athletically limited based on what we saw at the combine. And
he's a tackle listed.
He is tackle. Well, yeah, he's tackle size. I wouldn't put him at guard at 6'5", 315 personally.
He can play 6'5", but I don't.
You don't see too many 6'5" guards.
They don't. Isn't that the upper end of guard?
That is the upper end, but you typically see guards hovering around like 6'3", 6'4", because you don't want the interior linemen to be so tall that your quarterback can't see over them.
I don't want to trust some of this stuff. I was trying to quick Google, but now I remember how useless this is, kind of. I'll try some other things. If I have a hard number, I'll let you know.
Yeah, you're good. But the other one that I wanted to bring up before you guys give me any of your guys that stood out that you heard about, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Okay, apparently there's a bunch of red flags around this guy, character-wise. I don't know what he's done or whatever.
Wait, what's his name? Uh-oh. What?
I think he's talking about James Pierce Jr.
What did I say? Did I say Joan?
I'm not sure.
All right. Well, James Pierce Jr., out of Tennessee, came into the combine 6'5", 245. So he's a little bit lighter for defensive ends. But that is the trend that we're seeing with defensive ends. They are becoming lighter and lighter. But he ran the 40 at 4.47. His 10-yard split was 1.56.
27 as a pass rusher is a sinister number, but okay.
And then a broad jump of 10 feet 3 inches. So he is explosive, and he has a quick, just nightmarish closing speed. How he's going to play in the pros, I don't know. Apparently, he's not very bendy as a pass rusher. But hey, listen, if you just tell him to go in a straight line and he can beat his man, that's all you want from the guy. So we'll see what happens.
All right, I got an answer that feels right, but I don't know.
Tell me, lay it on me.
I would argue that ChatGPT is, it is what it is. I would say this is something it's probably good enough at to trust. I added height and weight of average NFL offensive guard. So it is 6'3" to 6'5". So that's the thing is I know it's accurate because ChatGPT is just vague. That's really what it does. It gives you a vague answer. It gets you a little clear, but it's still kind of vague. And it's like 310, 330 is the weight.
All right.
So
I would
basically right.
Here's a University of Idaho report.
That's what we want.
Hell yeah.
That's what we want.
That's what we need right there. Give it to me.
So many pages of methods. Results by position. Offensive. It just does offensive line in general, so that's not going to be too helpful. Sorry.
Yeah, I figured that was why I was going to just go to the quick math, and get a rough idea. But then they were like, "Yeah, we'll give you like the same idea you probably could have just guessed in your head anyway."
So here's what I got from an SI article about James Pierce Jr. There have been rumors relating to character concerns as a potential reasoning for his drop. But one NFL GM said there are no character concerns that we are aware of. He wants to be great.
And that's all you need to hear.
That sounds like a team that's putting out rumors.
Oh, yeah. No.
Because they're trying to get a guy.
Listen, the NFL draft is some of the nastiest politics you're ever going to see.
Yeah,
these
it's true.
Like have to go through because it's like a team. And here's the thing: the team that's probably spreading the rumors is probably the team that won't even get that player anyway. So you just did all that dirty macking for nothing. More likely than not, and sometimes it benefits certain teams. Look at Jalen Carter. Yeah, some of that shit was warranted. I'm not gonna deny that.
I don't know. I think Jalen Carter is more of the that I think get scared straight maybe type is probably what it looks like now.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen.
I think if someone would have rewarded that behavior, maybe he wouldn't have felt that way. I don't know that it really dropping to 10 was that harmful. I think just having to go through all of those, like,
yeah, but somebody who was probably before the car accident thing or the race that led to the loss of life, he was kind of projected top 2, top 3. Some having him.
No, yeah, I think I saw him at 1.
Here we go.
A couple
Character
times.
concern because he didn't handle a police encounter well when he was 19.
Oh, how many 19-year-olds?
Oh, I love the NFL Combine bullshit. That's why you got to read into it.
How poorly did he handle it? Because, you know.
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm sorry, man. I don't give a shit. There's not a lot of 19-year-olds that have mastered the art of talking to a cop, let alone adults.
Baker's really good at it, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Baker Mayfield has the all-time greatest.
It's on camera.
All-time greatest.
Oh, no, mind me. I'm getting right out of here.
And I, as someone who has unfortunately made that drunken mistake himself, I'm just so thankful it's never been recorded and published on the internet. It didn't go that badly for me, but
or for Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, he immediately got spear tackled into a concrete wall.
Yeah, no, I fell on my ass from a fence. You know what I mean? That's just all drunk dumbass right there. He just straight up.
You know, there was
he got like that. Honestly, if anything, I think that cop was a Pokes fan. You know what I mean?
Could have been.
Was he in Lubbock? No, this was it Oklahoma or Lubbock?
I feel like it was OU because it was on. I believe it was on Campus Corner.
Well, it wasn't talking enough about that. People were like, "Oh, he ran from the police." It was like, no. That's not the part anybody should have been worried about. What you should have been worried about is that he got caught so quickly. I'm like, the guy is not explosive.
No, it looks like it was in Fayetteville.
Oh, he was partying in Arkansas. Was he in high school? Oh,
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, his athleticism should have been brought into question that entire draft process. I'm like, he can't outrun a cop. What are we doing here? If anything, the cop should have been invited to the combine because I'm like, his 10-yard split must have been pretty fucking good to catch Baker. Anyway, Patrick, is there anybody from the combine that caught your eye that you heard about that you're like, ooh, this is intriguing? I hope the Vikings kind of reach for this guy. Probably not, I'm assuming.
I was not too plugged into the combine.
That is fair. Listen, the combine isn't overrated.
For everybody.
It's not.
Yeah,
but we do get some stories from the combine that are worth
for sure. Yeah,
just
nothing stood out. Like I mentioned the gunner helm ankle. That was the only thing that really grabbed my eye.
And you know what? That's fair enough. Now I will say this, in terms of the combine, a lot more athletes are starting to just ditch the combine in general and skipping straight for the pro days. If you are an athlete, you should absolutely do that. Because you can just manipulate the times and the numbers a little bit more than you can at the combine.
And maybe we can take some power back into our own hands. And I think for the NFL, there's an argument that the players need to do things that can, whatever they can, to bring the power on their side. And this feels like,
I think it's more of a thing for ESPN than it is for.
Well, it's NFL Network.
Did they get a cut of ESPN?
Or whoever. Yeah, it's a media. It's a media
the
thing.
NFL
more
is in on this, so no, that is a serious thing. This is a TV product the NFL sells. So if the players do get a cut of that revenue, then maybe that does still incentivize enough, or at least maybe they change some of the things about the combine to start bringing guys back in. But players, it's still a good point for the players to inflect their point of view. So I agree. In the interim, if they agree that the system isn't good, and I don't think it is, then, force some change.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. And I will say this for anybody that's like, well, what about other things that happen at the combine? Listen, if you want to see Rich Eisen run the 40-yard dash, and I think he does it for charity now.
Hey man, Rich is not gonna be with us forever though.
He won't, and also he's a Michigan man. I'm sure Michigan will gladly accept him back into the fold.
Oh yeah, I mean their pro days, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just go to their pro day. He can film it there.
Yeah,
It's all
actually,
good.
conference pro days might be a real thing in the future with the way the networks work now.
Sure.
Yeah,
I could see that being a middle ground, because then maybe they get a cut of all the deal and it benefits more people, I guess. As long as that's the thing, right? We all know the motivator.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with that said, y'all, we can go ahead and move on from combine talk, and we'll talk about the busy couple days that the NFL has had regarding people coming back to their teams, some people getting cut by their teams, some people getting traded by their teams, all before we hit the brink of free agency. I guess the biggest name to start off with is Matthew Stafford will be returning back to the Rams after they were playing essentially I don't know, it was a Mexican standoff between both sides to see can Matthew Stafford get a trade offer that would entice the Rams to move him. Could Matthew Stafford just secure the bag because he wants to be paid, and his last couple of years, I think he's earned it. And the Rams came to the table and offered him a huge deal, a huge extension, which weirdly enough, I cannot find the exact numbers despite Googling his name. So, Patrick, if you see that, let me know. But we'll just talk about how I think the Rams basically, or not the Rams, Matthew Stafford basically played the Rams on this one. He called their bluff. They're like, who's going to want to trade for you, man, and pay that much money? He's like, the New York Giants are desperate. The Jets are desperate. The Raiders are desperate.
He's like 5 off rip. What do you mean? It's the NFL.
Yeah, he's like, what are we doing? Like, do you not know who I am? And the Rams are like, yeah, we shouldn't have called that bluff. Here's his Spot Tracks gave me the numbers. Oh, wow.
Do they have the new one on there?
Details
weren't released immediately, so I'm having to go.
Oh, no, I don't think oh no, they have the old deal, which was 4 years, 160 million. So I'm sure we'll get that number sooner rather than later. I assume it's gonna be like a 2-year deal, all front loaded, so they can move on from him whenever he hits 40, because he's gonna hit that age pretty soon. Feels like. Yeah, because he's 30. He'll be 37 in the 2025 season. So there is that for you. Listen, this is a great move by the Rams. They had the best showing in the playoffs against the Eagles, and that's something to build off of. You do get rid of Cooper Kupp. I think they're still trying to trade him if they haven't already released him outright. But you have a young defense. You have Puka Nacua. And even though Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams, says, fuck those picks, the picks that he has gotten, he's nailed. So the Rams, it's looking up. It's looking nice out there for the Rams, especially with what's happening with Seattle, San Francisco, and the Cardinals aren't a real threat anytime soon. So, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm a Rams fan, I'm happy with this. And the future, the immediate future looks bright. The long distant future post Matthew Stafford may not. We'll see what they do here in the draft if they get his heir apparent, which they would be smart to do.
Okay. There are no New Year's on the deal. Basically, they're just going to change the number every year. It's like they're like approaching it like every year is a 1-year deal, just under his current contract, pushing money back and back.
Yeah, because the NFL doesn't actually have as many rules as we feel like they might. Because you're about to get to the next one. Because the next team is like, it is.
They're just adding money to Stafford's contract, but pushing the cap back, and then every year they'll readdress it.
Yeah, no, it's like the Eagles. I know Caesar will get into the way they do it. Like, there's some funny management of money now in the NFL.
There's so much funny money going on. All right, so speaking of the Eagles, we'll go ahead and get into it. Saquon Barkley signed a 2-year extension worth $41.2 million, and he is making him the first ever $20 million per year running back in the NFL, and this includes $36 million fully guaranteed. Let's call this what this is. He had one of the most, if not the most, historical run a running back has ever had in the NFL, and the Eagles are just like, well, yeah, you're grossly underpaid for what you did for this year. Here's a pay raise. Here's a pay raise. Now, Becky, you brought up how the Eagles do things. The Eagles do things in a weird way. So they have a lot of void years. So a contract might be 4 years for $40 million. But they will push that shit back as much as they can. So even after, say, the 4 years of the contract are up, there might be 2 void years on that deal, so they can push that cap hit. So that cap hit for that player will be on the books for about 6 total seasons. And so there's times where like, hey, that catches up to you. Look at the Saints. They've been pushing that shit back and back and back and back and back, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel for them because they have to keep pushing things back to the point where they don't have anything in the present to work with, right? The Eagles, it comes in about every 3 to 4 seasons where they have to just bite the bullet and hope to God that the talent that they are able to have on the team can keep them afloat. If not, you look at 2020 and you have a miserable season. You look at 2018. 2018, I want to say. No, it was 2015. They couldn't sign anybody because of the deal they signed for a terrible, terrible former Dallas Cowboys running back who shall not be named, DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco, where is he? He was almost the Dallas Cowboy running back coach this offseason. They went with someone else, though.
Oh, maybe he went to the Titans. But anyway, yeah, Saquon Barkley, his deal now was what?
He's at his alma mater.
Yeah.
Oh, OU? Oh, nice. Good for him. But yeah, now Saquon Barkley has reset the running back market. I would be surprised, however, if we continue to see a run on running backs making that much money. A lot of teams are not going to follow suit on this, I don't think. Not unless you have the quality offensive line, like, say, the Detroit Lions, like the Philadelphia Eagles, anybody else that you can think of that has a great offensive line that can get the most out of your elite, talented running back. So, that said, congrats to Saquon. It is a weird deal. I did not expect them to have this extension. I to be honest, I thought Howie was going to be like, hey, man, we're paying you $12 million a year. I know you're making less than Gabe Davis, but hey, you got
to do right by the players.
They give him more money, but they're also saving themselves $6 million in cap space for next year to do something else. So, they'll pay him eventually, but like it helps them out too because it keeps the window a little bit more open.
Absolutely. The thing is, I did not expect Saquon of all the players on the team to get that extension. I was thinking more like Cam Jurgens, the center, or somebody, literally anybody else. That I did not even have that on my radar. So
I think there's also a world where it's more
it's like Nick Foles got a statue for like 6 games. So
he brought them their first Super Bowl. I think it's deserving.
I think that it's also like if in a couple years you got to look at that sheet and you've cut that money and it's just an L, it's like an easier L to take now, you know?
Absolutely. And listen, the Eagles probably are going to make the money back on that contract just based on the amount of merch they have been selling since the Super Bowl. So they're not going to be cash strapped, or Jeff Flurry's not going to be hurting for money. That's for fucking sure. But yeah, so that said, I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on this deal, or do you guys want to move on to the next bit of things that I had to say about the Eagles moves?
No, I mean, there's more to be done at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, how much do you believe Myles Garrett could happen?
I don't think so. I just don't. One, I don't think that they have the cap room for it. Like, they might try to make room for it, but I don't see Cleveland letting themselves get hustled by Howie Roseman, especially since the GM for the Cleveland Browns used to work for Howie Roseman. So that one might be a little tough. I don't suspect that Myles Garrett actually stays a Brown. I just don't think he's going to be an Eagle. I might be proven wrong. Howie Roseman has done crazy things before, but it's always things that you don't expect him to do that he does, and it's never the things that you do expect him to do that he ends up following through on. So
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. Even if another team does, it's not going to be the simplest trade in the world. That's a big time player, and it's somebody who's expecting to win as soon as they get there. And like, there's not going to be too much patience, I would expect,
No,
for whatever team.
Yeah, if anything, I would expect like the Lions to try to make a move for him, but we haven't heard anything about that. It just seems it's like Philadelphia or bust. It feels like, even though Myles Garrett himself,
I think people are just caught in the. I think people are just caught in the like lore of the Eagles right now, where they think they can just pull off another big one.
The Eagles. Yeah. This is in this article concerning how they could possibly get rid of Brown, how the Browns could possibly get Garrett out. Just an interesting side point. The Eagles won the Super Bowl with a record $390.4 million tied up in void years.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Jones boys did not pay him that much in void years.
No,
no way in hell.
I mean, they're playing it one way or another, but it's
no. I mean, it's the owner really being very unafraid to take losses on a product. I mean, it's not necessarily all the losses, like you've argued. This is a really good opportunity for the Eagles to capture a moment, and when you capture a moment, it usually means a lot of merchandise and stuff because people want to kind of bandwagon onto that moment. Right? The Chiefs have just had a hell of a run, and probably still have a little bit more gas in that run as far as Mahomes goes. Patriots got a couple decades out of Brady, you know.
According to this article, the only way the Browns could survive the dead money for trading Garrett is basically just extending Watson further and trying to spread his cap out.
I love that.
Fucking fight. That's terrible. All right, well, looks like Myles Garrett, you are staying around for quite some time.
Yeah, that's interesting. And there's really no other option
because the NFL doesn't
step in and help.
There's no like retention, right? Salary. You can't like you can't take on part of someone's salary dead hit.
Yeah,
no, you can't. You can't take on the cap hit, unfortunately. Because if you could, I think trades would be way more common.
Yeah, because people absorb things for assets. There's more assets in draft for the NFL, so I do think that would happen.
Yeah, because if you could tell somebody like, yeah, we'll take part of his cap hit onto our books, that do it. But usually it's the team that's doing the trading away that has to bite the cap hit. So
yeah, I wish they would amend that at least a little bit. They don't have to go full into the NBA MLB model versions of this, but maybe a little change.
Couldn't hurt too much.
A little more flexibility in trades would make the NFL more enjoyable, I think.
Oh, for sure. Now, one thing that the Eagles have done to make things a little bit easier on their books to maybe get a Myles Garrett, they have parted ways with Darius Slay and James Bradberry. Now, James Bradberry had a phantom injury, essentially, where they're just like, listen, you're old and you're cooked, so we're just going to put you on IR and keep you there. What was a six-week injury just became a phantom injury where he was just on IR the entire year. But hey, he got a Super Bowl out of it, so you got that. And then Darius Slay, who, man, he delivered some great years for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's sad to see him go. I understand why, though. I mean, he's 34 years old, and you just drafted his replacement in Quinyon Mitchell, and you hit a home run with Cooper DeJean, who may or may not take the other outside spot, may stay in the slot. We don't know yet. But you're set up for the future at corner. So, Darius Slay is the odd man out. No, he still might come back on a cheaper deal if nothing materializes for him. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see him finish his career in Detroit, maybe go to Baltimore. Who knows? He could go to Minnesota and add to their old cornerbacks room, with Patrick Peterson. Is Patrick Peterson still there?
Bro,
if he is, he might be a coach.
I don't think.
Listen, there was a while where they had some old cornerbacks.
I think they had Gilmore last year, right?
Yeah, they had Stephon Gilmore.
Cam Bynum. He hasn't played since 2023 when he played for the Steelers.
Yeah. All right. No, I do remember him being a really old corner for the Minnesota Vikings. Even his team photo, he looks really fucking old. He's
all of 6 months older than me.
Listen, he just looks like he's in his 40s in this one.
He's done for.
Wait, you said he's 6 months older than you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I confused his age with his interceptions here on Google. I was like, Patrick, you're not 36. How the fuck are you 36? But that's his career.
It's closer than I would have thought, though.
Yeah. His interceptions is 36 and his age is 34. So there is that. All right. Moving on then from that. Becky, this is your time to shine. Your boy, Oso Digizua, got extended 4 years, $80 million. Tell us about it. And you got to show some love to your guy who also stepped away from the game. You got to go. You got to go some Zach Martin love here. So I'll let you go whatever.
You mean Jerry not showing up for the combine to do his annual bus press conference?
Yeah.
Well, I think he was at the combine, but he was
there for a couple minutes, basically.
Yeah. Oh, is that all? There was a picture in a press box where he was doing the classic, I'm trying to be low key, but everyone knows who I am. So what's the point?
Yeah, no, he was
like a hoodie.
He was busy dealing with some other kind of business deal, like most GMs during the combine. He had other places to be.
Yeah.
But no, we missed out. It's an interesting thing is the Cowboys send their entire beat reporters staff to the combine. Other teams don't do that because Jerry always gives you 3 hours on the bus to talk. So he didn't do that this year for the first time in a long time.
Well, there's a lot of interesting breadcrumbs, but let's start with Zach Martin. Probably the hardest part about the 2024 Cowboys, and there was quite a lot to feel negative about. I think the worst feeling by far was watching Zach Martin just get completely cooked on a screen. And I think that was also the moment that we felt pretty confident that this team had nothing left in the tank. And then they just shut Dak down the next week. And it was like, all right, well, there it is. That's the season, boys. So, that was a weird year. I hate he had to go out like that. But easily one of the best players I've ever watched play with the Cowboys. Maybe the best, if you really just were worthy that hardcore. I do feel like it's probably true. Sometimes I feel that way about Micah too, and Micah hasn't done enough to really deserve that. Tyron was so good for so long too, so that's a hard one. I don't know. I'd have to think harder, but it's definitely he is a tier above a lot of the guys that I've seen kind of come through here and be above average, maybe even soar into higher territory, but not sustain it for a very long time. And Zach was the one guy, really. I mean, Sean Lee also is in that category of talented player. How much are we getting out of you, So it's just one of those things where I appreciated Zach and Tyron for their ability to play. It was a little bit harder for Tyron at the end of his tenure, but shit, now he's lasted longer, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, Zach will always have a fucking special place in all the Cowboys fans' hearts because in a way that maybe you could look at as negative, it was a fun moment of hope was it 2012, right? When
the draft, yeah.
And then the famous story comes out. Now that story didn't lead to Super Bowls. It didn't lead to a lot of change even.
But it didn't lead to 8-8 like I was told it was going to.
It launched the career of Will McClay. It was his first draft pick, which I think is more notable now than the Steve and Jerry comments and romanticism of that moment. And I think that's been awesome for the franchise. I think the Cowboys would be in utter disarray if they didn't have a talent department that was competent enough to deliver on as many picks as they deliver on. May not be perfect, but when you're having to constantly fill the roster with talent via the draft, you're also being asked to do a job that's much more difficult than probably most other GMs, whatever, in GM in quotation marks. But yeah, I mean, for Zach, it's just, I'm glad that they got to send him out. It was cool to see all, like Romo and all those people show up for it. He'll probably be inducted into the Ring of Honor fairly quickly.
Oh, I didn't realize it was also the same draft as DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, D-Law would have been the second pick. I mean, Will McClay really has been.
It's a pretty good draft.
Will McClay's been way better than not. And, DeMarcus took a while. And Will McClay has a type. It's not a perfect guy. And I love DeMarcus, but there's also a little bit of taking like risks on guys that are later in the draft and they have some injury stuff and like Leighton and obviously the Boise State thing with both of those guys and other players. But yeah, all that to say, I am sad to see Zach Martin go, but I'm glad that he's not going to do the one more year thing. And I like smart football players. I like when they have the knowledge that this is it. Please don't destroy my body anymore. I've done enough. I've planned for this. I'm getting the fuck out. That I always respect in football, no matter who. Then going into new business, Osa Odigizua, one of Will McClay's better draft picks in the recent years. Not the run-stopping defensive tackle that we've needed, but the energy player we've needed. The pass rusher that absolutely makes Micah Parsons even more dangerous because he's a guy I think he led the league in hits last year, and he's always been a pretty good pass rusher. It's never been a worry.
He's been tops in QB pressure from the defensive tackle position now for I believe the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, and he's just look, he's not perfect, but they didn't pay him top dollar either. I thought it was one of those deals where he took a little less from the
it's under the tag.
It's less than the market probably would have given him, but he likes the security here. He likes the investment. And it was nice because this is one of the few times you get to see a little bit more of the player. And you find out that Osa, not even, being that guy is literally like, all right, can I go to the gym now? Like, all right, I got to get out of here, right? Like, are we done with this signing bullshit? And that's nice. That's really, especially with a star in your helmet. He talked about his mom setting her up for life kind of stuff. So it's nice to see that he was, that when you get paid, it's, okay, cool, whatever, back to work. That's one of the cooler things you can see in all of sports. Because, honestly, I do think that work ethic is kind of the differentiator in that level of athleticism. And that level of a lot of things, but especially that. So good on the Cowboys, good on Osa. Very excited to continue to root for him. The other part is Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb have gotten restructured deals very quickly. That's nice. That is bare minimum for most competent franchises, but it's nice to see.
I think I read that saves $56 million in cap space for next year.
That's excellent. That's the kind of stuff that they needed to do, right? I actually thought I had saved a tweet from one of the Dallas guys where they kind of talked about basically, well, the Cowboys have technically this much to spend on either, retaining certain assets in this way, or they can really push it and spend a lot, basically kind of mapping out the formula that they usually use and then the alternative route. And so, yeah, it's really nice to see. And then, of course, Jerry does finally speak. I think this was at the Star when he got back from the Combine. And he basically was like, I wouldn't call free agency aggressive.
Well, it's better than saying we're all in.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily kill the hope that they could trade for a player. You're going to mention one that would definitely be a great fit to the Cowboys later, and I would love to have Myles Garrett, even though it appears to be next to impossible. So,
well,
if they can pull off a trade, that would be excellent. I don't necessarily need it to be free agency, but I still have great trepidation about trusting the Dallas Cowboys to not play the fool me twice game.
Well, here's the thing. There was a guy who just hit free agency, 5-time Pro Bowler, and by God, does he have the same views of the world as Jerry Jones? More than likely, and that is, and I know we're skipping. This is not on my rundown. We're going to skip ahead to him. Joey Bosa is a free agent now. That's right.
Oh my God.
Joey Bosa just got cut by the Los Angeles Chargers. He is now a free agent, and boy, boy.
I believe he was the last San Diego Charger at this point.
Yeah, checks out. But yeah, Becky, how does it feel knowing that he'll hit that defensive line room here in the next couple days? He's probably not going to get signed for a whole ton.
I would also kind of think San Francisco would be involved in that conversation naturally. Lions. Yeah, I guess the Lions do need to back up because are they really worried about what's his name?
I don't know. They just lost a third of their team last year to injuries. So although he's not necessarily the best current day, he might not be the best guy to do that. Oh, he played 14 games last year, so that's not terrible.
Yeah, he just didn't do great in those 14 games, if memory serves correct.
Yeah, I don't know how to interpret the stats.
So damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
he was a Pro Bowler.
What about Derwin James? Is he cut? Because I'd rather have Derwin.
Well, Derwin's slowing down a bit. I don't know how great he'd be for you, but no, he's not cut. If this was Derwin James from 3 years ago.
Oh, boys, we have an outro.
Oh, all right. You know what? Just keep it a surprise. I want to be surprised.
We're keeping it a surprise.
But yeah, no. Joey Bosa got released.
That's crazy.
Wasn't expecting that, but at the same time, hey.
Well, I thought there was somebody that they should. The people thought they were going to cut people last year, and then they ended up not doing it because of Harbaugh. And I guess because this team was still middled out, they finally were like, all right, let's do it this time.
And I mean, before they have to pay him whatever, there's some amount of money that they're gonna have to pay him if they keep him that they didn't feel was worth it at this point.
Yeah, probably some roster bonus that was going to be a little, a little high. But yeah, so he's gone now from the Chargers. I expect him to absolutely be either a Dallas Cowboy, maybe a New England Patriot, maybe a Detroit Lion. Yeah, the San Francisco 49er makes sense too. You could pair the Bosa brothers together, although I don't anticipate that going too well for the San Francisco 49ers. Just because I think Joey Bosa's fallen off a bit. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna move on.
I mean, obviously, yeah, we need to add more depth to that room. I think we're probably going to end up losing DeMarcus Lawrence unless his injury is a situation that we sort of get lucky on keeping him for a low cost. I don't think they're going to pay him. I think even if they're lazy Jones boys, I think that they're trying to hold out as much as they can to not pay him, overpay him, because I think in their mind, DeMarcus has been a great Cowboy, but that if Tyron can walk, he can walk.
Absolutely. No, 100% agree on that. Now, next thing that we have going up here, guys, the Chicago Bears. You mentioned the Chiefs earlier having some moves. Well, they made some moves with the Bears. They're trading their All-Pro. Let me repeat that. All-Pro guard, Joe Thuney. The same Kansas City Chiefs who had their entire offensive line abused in the Super Bowl decide they're going to go ahead and get worse by trading away their second best offensive lineman, probably. And yeah, they're trading away to the Chicago Bears, and I am just absolutely floored that the Chiefs would do that. Maybe they know something that we don't. I'm more floored than an all-pro guard, despite him being, I believe, 32 years old. He's just going to net them a 2026 fourth-round pick. Yeah, 32. I'm like, man, some guards can play into their late 30s. And only to get a fourth-round pick in next year's draft, I shout out to the Bears. I mean, this feels more like a Band-Aid option for them.
Yeah.
But, hey, you know what? You need something. You need some quality wide receiver. Sorry, not receiver. You need some quality offensive line talent to keep Caleb Williams upright. So, shout out to them.
For the Bears, that's a steal for them.
To the Bears.
He's older,
Absolutely.
but whatever.
He's on the last year of his deal, so I guess the expectation is the Bears are going to sign him to a bigger extension than the Chiefs would have, so they're just getting some value rather than none. Is their thinking?
I'm going to go ahead and think that the Chiefs are going to work towards a reset, sort of, or a reload. So this year will not be like a year where you expect them to really compete for the Super Bowl in earnest. They'll be contenders for sure.
Clears $16 million of cap space for the Chiefs.
There you go. I mean, they probably need that to give some of their other guys extensions as well. I'm just shocked because this guy gave up 0 sacks last year. In, I believe, let me see. I have the number right here. In 1,115 snaps last season, he did not allow a single sack while protecting Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he allowed a sack. Well, that's when they smooched him over to left tackle, and he was just not that. So, when he was left tackle, I do believe he gave up some sacks in the Super Bowl. But yeah, man, that's wild. Good for the Bears. Weird for the Chiefs. We'll see what they do. Maybe they have some moves that we don't know coming down the pipeline to keep an eye out. But yeah, now guys, let's move on to the more spicy, salacious, or just end of a drama novella type deal. The Jets are moving on from Devontae Adams, cutting all ties with anybody Aaron Rodgers related. And you know what? It makes sense for them. They're on a different timeline than he is. He didn't really bring much to the team last season.
Do you think they have like a back reserve of ayahuasca, or do you think that they just let Aaron take that?
I think Aaron had his own. I think Aaron made his own at home.
Not team supplied.
Not team supplied. No, because they're ran by a pharmaceutical company. I don't think that pharmaceutical company would like that.
Maybe they tried to, push their own.
Maybe
they were working with them on their own product, and now it's just they can't end that relationship.
They were doing clinical trials with ayahuasca but exclusively for Aaron Rodgers. That'd be funny. I would have loved to have seen that on a Hard Knocks episode. But yeah, no, they're getting rid of him. I believe they also got rid of Alan Lazard. So those are the 2 wide receivers that are essentially Aaron Rodgers' boys. Be interesting to see where he lands. The whole idea, speculation, I guess, is that he's just going to follow Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes. But Devontae Adams,
both on the Jets is hilarious.
Oh yeah, no,
cheap on the Cowboys. I'll live with it.
Hey, I mean, if he wants to go somewhere where he has a chance of,
he's a big body. We just need a big body. We need a big body. We've got the guy. We got the guy that does the rest. We need the big body. Go be a big body.
He could do that. Listen, Devontae Adams, just do yourself a favor. Go find a contender somewhere. Don't follow Aaron Rodgers, because wherever he goes, it's not going to be a real contender. Honestly, it'd be a lot funnier if nobody reaches out to Aaron Rodgers. That'd be a really funny way to end the era of Aaron Rodgers football in the NFL.
Honestly, I didn't even think about how. Well, the problem with that is that basically
there's a lot of QB needy teams.
Yes.
Yeah, but would he go to them?
And maybe, but then that's where I actually would. So even if you follow Caesar's, suggestion here, I think there's a world where now, like, San Francisco starts slow and they're starting to question Brock Purdy, or it just like he becomes this like little menace storyline throughout.
Yeah, never real. He's just a boogeyman.
Well, but then maybe he does become real, because Favre was kind of like that again once. People were
saying that about Brady too.
We tried to do that with Brady. I think Brady was more obvious. I think we all just didn't believe Brett Favre had anything else to do with his life, and that's what was more convincing. Brady, we are like, dude, you could literally do whatever you want. What are
he
you
was
doing
still playing well, also, and Brady left.
Yes.
Like he hadn't fallen off the way that Favre kind of had.
I think you as a Vikings fan and anyone who would have watched that team, if you watched that dude's head bounce off the concrete, like the concrete ice like that, you knew that was over. You knew it was
played like 3 more years after that too, and yeah.
No, that was I'm pretty sure it was the final game, because he didn't even end up. I think Joe Webbs ends up finishing the season.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the playout, the Bounty Gate game.
No. I'm talking about when they have the dome collapses and Favre has to play on the University of Minnesota field, and then it like freezes over, and so it's basically concrete.
Yeah.
And his head fucking bounces off of it. He's playing. The team sucks. I don't even think they can. I don't think they even could get into the playoffs at that point.
No,
They
they're
barely.
bad.
They would have had to have the dumbest chance of all time. Yeah. But no. I hope the Ayahuasca King keeps himself in shape and continues to be a menacing storyline for all the NFL franchises moving into next year.
He is essentially the Cold War of the NFL.
Tua, oh my God, Tua gets injured. Here comes Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God,
Aaron Rodgers and Tyreek Hill. God, that's a head case. Wait, that's a head case.
Favre missed the rest of the game and was replaced by Tavares Jackson, who helped lead the Vikings to victory despite throwing 3 interceptions.
R.I.P.
Hell yeah. All right. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, R.I.P. Tavares Jackson. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on then from the Adams talk. I have the Packers. We're going to end on the Packers. Because we do have some news.
Yeah, I would definitely. Yeah,
Tyler Lockett of the Seattle Seahawks is no longer part of the Seattle Seahawks. He has been cut, and to add more insult to injury for Seahawks fans, your second, if not your best wide receiver, DK Metcalf has requested a trade out of the organization.
Now that's the big body I want, Jerry. That's the big body.
But is that the Jonathan Mingo?
No, I know, and I already know, but fuck that. I'm suspending belief.
We got DK Metcalf at home for sure.
Then they're buddies now. I don't give a fuck. They can both play on the same roster. He's not competing for 1 or 2, I guess in this case.
Well, hey, CeeDee Lamb plays on the inside anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one. Yeah, yeah, we'll call it a 1. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
You gotta be the big body.
It's a red zone threat.
Yeah, we need the big.
Even though DK Metcalf actually is not a very good red zone threat.
See, but I don't even know if we need the red zone.
He'd be the Cowboys' #1 at this point.
I don't think we need the red zone threat as much as I do think he helps extend the field a little bit more in ways that we haven't.
Oh no, he's a field stretcher for sure.
100%. And that's kind of what I'd like to see. I mean, I want to see Prescott yak that thing out there, man.
He doesn't have that.
Exactly. So we need to figure. You know what I mean? I want to see him do it though. Prove me wrong, Dakota. You've done it before. Do it again.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. But yeah, I'm really surprised, guys, that the Seahawks are essentially remaking that entire receiving room. All they have is Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that is it.
He also had a tweet about it today. What he just tweeted? What the fuck or something?
Was it just Will Smith looking around the empty?
No, but that was definitely the comments.
I mean, yeah, man. I'm like, why would you release Tyler Lockett? Like, granted, Tyler Lockett has been a solid, if not outstanding.
I think he might just be cooked.
Just the age. I mean, he's been around for a while, right?
Yeah, but you're talking about a guy who's taking care of himself.
He's 32.
Never taking big hits. I think he's most well known.
I would think they would know, and I think they would want to keep him. I don't think he would be that expensive to try to retain, right? Was it really that hard of a hit?
I don't.
Well, did they really benefit that much? No, I'm saying, did they really benefit that much from cutting his money and moving it or whatever?
I don't know if they do. Honestly, I don't think
finished with 49. Last year, he made 13 guaranteed. Base value was $30 million. He got 49 catches for 600 yards, 2 touchdowns. 17
games played. He played the whole season. Matter of fact, he's only ever missed 1 game in his career, I believe.
That was his second least amount of yards his entire career.
Oh yeah. Fucked. But I mean, still, I think.
Also part of that is just the team isn't as it's a different team, but
it is. It is strange though because they did invest in Geno Smith, recently, and so like you're essentially going to lose 2/3 of your starting wide receiving core. I don't know how to feel about that if I'm him. I doubt he's going to request a trade or.
I mean, he's not in a position to dictate terms.
No, absolutely not.
Here's something that I'm sure. Do you think he put this into his own personal life page on Wiki? Lockett is a Christian, and following his beliefs, he has chosen to abstain from sex until marriage.
Okay, AC Green.
All right.
I got a book about that, actually. I have AC Green's book on his life. It's actually definitely, I haven't read it yet, but it's one of the ones I'm most excited to get to because, like, I just have so many questions.
I don't know, but it does sound really.
One of Lockett's hobbies is writing poems.
That's 100%.
That's not weird. That's not weird. It's just funny to be right under the one that was just above it.
No. I'm not saying that.
You got to use your time wisely, Patrick.
The third line of his personal life, third and final line. Aside from football, Lockett is a real estate agent in Washington and Texas, earning his license in 2022.
Oh, good for him.
That's got to be some tax bullshit.
100%.
Or he's making.
You got a little money. I mean, you got to do something off season.
From what I can tell, that's how you get into politics. Also, is you have to just be quote unquote in real estate, and then all of a sudden you're involved with a party, and then all of a sudden you're a nominee.
Because you're involved with the community because you're selling them homes they can't afford.
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, that weird moves by the Seahawks. We'll see what happens with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. The Seahawks look to be taking a step back here in the Mike McDonald era. Now, I almost forgot to mention, the bald eagle is back, baby. Eagles fans rejoice. Howie Roseman has re-signed Zach Bond to a 3-year, $51 million extension.
I thought you had missed that, but I felt like at some point but I was like, did he say the Bond thing?
I did not, but I had it right here on my alerts, like notification. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Don't forget to mention that. So, yep, he's back. I was concerned that they were going to let him hit free agency. The Eagles historically have not valued linebackers pretty much ever in the Howie Roseman era. But when you, in your first season as a starting linebacker, finish, I believe, third in AP Defensive Player of the Year voting, and you are first team All-Pro, how can you not re-sign that guy? You found a diamond in the rough. The guy was toiling away in the Saints as a special teamer. Little did they know, this guy, absolute stud middle linebacker. So, thank you, Howie, for bringing him back. They got him at, I believe, a reasonable deal because I believe there was a lot of talk about him maybe hitting the $20 million mark. I believe this makes him a top 5 paid inside linebacker. But I'm not.
You gotta pay the cost to be the boss after that season, you know.
Oh, absolutely. The season that he had, the plays that he made in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl, that diving interception, just great. So happy to have him back. Interesting to see what the Eagles do going forward with the remainder of free agency. Now that they've extended him, and they've extended, not extended. They re-signed Bond and extended Barkley. So that said, gentlemen, am I missing anything? Is there anything that I haven't touched upon?
No, I mean, it was a busy day, but I think that was basically it from the NFL side as far as I can think of. And even the Bosa thing kind of came out late.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no, absolutely. So if that is all the pre-free agent re-signing cuts, things, trades, then let's talk about Charmin Ultra Soft. Just a bunch of whiny little bitches.
Let's get to some old business that needs to get handled.
Yeah, we need to circle back. Green Bay, you soft motherfucking organization, you. How dare you try to outlaw a play that you can't run because you're not good enough, because your coaches aren't good enough to coach it, because you don't get the right players in the draft or in free agency to run the fucking QB sneak. The tush push. What the hell is wrong with you? You're weak. They beat you twice in the regular season. You're like, Roger. They keep pushing Jalen, and he keeps getting first downs. We can't stop the play. Newsflash, you fucking bitch. They only have an 80% success rate on those plays. Because guess what? They do get stopped. They just don't get stopped a second time. So, what does that say? That says whatever you did in the previous play, you should do it again. It's not some unstoppable play. You can stop it. I've seen it before. I've seen the tush push get stopped at the goal line twice in the same series by the Washington Commanders. Like, they can do it. Coach your defense better. If you don't like them running the tush push, you know what you should do? you should maybe make sure that they don't get a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1, a 3rd and 2, a 4th and 2. You should just play better defense. And you know what? If you don't like the play so much, how about you run it yourselves? You ever thought about that? You ever just thought, hey, if this play is so unstoppable, why don't we do it? You ever thought about that, Green Bay? You probably didn't because you're stupid. And that's why you have not been able to capitalize on Super Bowl talented quarterbacks for a good chunk of their careers. You're useless. You're worthless. You should be ashamed. Go fuck yourself, Green Bay. Gentlemen, thoughts?
Peckerheads.
My guess is there was 8 or 9 teams that were like, yeah, Green Bay, you go tell them. Go tell them.
Or do you think that Green Bay got voted to do it because there's no owner responsible, no single
just,
owner
the
responsible?
PR thing is a lot. Yeah, the people in Green Bay don't know who to yell at about it.
Honestly, though, that might be the most logical conclusion.
That could be it, man. But I'm just like, man, this is weak. Like,
no, it is dumb. I'm with you. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with it. So,
and
I do say though, I have something that can solve this problem. The Eagles have to agree to follow what I was describing earlier, the Daniel Tosh's suggestion. And if they do that for one regular season game, win, lose, or draw, then we all put it to bed forever.
Oh, you mean just keep running the play over and over?
Yes.
See, now you would actually get injury concerns. Because there was like, it's for player safety. And they're like,
no, I'm not about it. I'm arguing that we push.
I'm
this
interested. I haven't read the NFL rulebook myself,
we double down.
So I'm interested to know what rules there are against the defense pushing people, and I'd like to make sure they're even on both sides.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I guess there's the controversy. The only controversy that I see so far.
But I don't want to strip the play. Like like if you need to fix the wording to where it's more even-footed with if the defense actually feels like they're being shortchanged in the rulebook, then do that. But don't take the play away.
So from what I understand about the criticism, the only valid criticism I can really find in this, because it's kind of the hardest to prove, is that the Eagles are not being called at the same rate that other teams are being called for their line of scrimmage infractions. But I'm not going to pretend like I know the rules that well on that. But I do know that in other sports, we see that consistency cause issues like this.
This is a game where sometimes the line of scrimmage is determined with an index card and a football placed by a 60-year-old.
Not anymore, apparently, right?
Yeah, apparently not. But no, I'm glad you brought that up, because we see... Whenever we see a close-up of, both sides of the line of scrimmage lined up against each other, you're like, yeah, both sides are hovering over the ball.
It doesn't feel legal.
Yeah.
But if two wrongs make it right?
Well, some of what you're dealing with there is also camera angles in the stadium, or you're not going to, unless you have an actual direct down the line of what the line of scrimmage is.
Yeah, and a lot of the ones that I saw, they were accusing, mostly it's the center, and I guess I don't know how the center's head's supposed to be his set. I'm like, fuck, I never thought about it, actually. Fuck. Does his head go behind the ball, in front of the ball? I don't know, fuck.
I've only ever been on the outside, so it's either I'm covered or I'm uncovered are the only things I know.
Yeah, so... I mean, if the NFL wants to just make some adjustments in terms of making sure both the offensive line and defensive line are lined up properly so the play can be ran, fine, absolutely, go for it. But don't come to me and say, well, it's not a football play. It is a football play. Shut the fuck up. It was crude. It is as football as it gets.
It actually looks a lot more like where we started. It's kind of fun of it.
Yeah. And then what's the other one? Oh, it's an almost automatic. You said almost automatic. You know what was also automatic that nobody seemed to complain about was when the extra point was kicked from the 3-yard line. Nobody complained about that. I never heard that be an issue.
Yeah.
That's an automatic point right there. That could swing the difference. And both teams get a chance at it when they score. So, hey, both teams can run the tush push as well. So don't tell me that. And then there's injury concerns. We have seen that there is no significant data that shows that anybody has been significantly injured on the play. on this particular play. Some people are like, well, what about that shot of Chris Jones when he was grabbing his neck? He lined up sideways for a play where 1,000 pounds of human being is coming right at him.
I was watching that like this isn't gonna go well, and then they're immediately like massaging his neck on the.
And he's in like severe pain, and I'm
He was just trying something different, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what Richard Sherman said. I think this is where I got this little seed of this thought was. Richard Sherman. My problem with the tush push is the NFL literally banned defensive players from pushing other players into the offensive formation on field goals and PATs because it was health and safety. So yeah, there are different types of plays there.
But unfortunately, we do know that the NFL prioritizes offense over defense.
Yes, yeah, and that's ultimately, But again, I would never want them to just flat out take away a play that doesn't break any rules. I don't even understand why it's an argument, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just the topic of the moment.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why teams would care. Because first of all, that's not the separating factor for why the Eagles are beating everybody.
No, I mean it just adds an extra layer that's, I guess, easier to poke at than the other stuff. And honestly, I mean, the other thing that's been the biggest formula for the Eagles is again, what we were talking about earlier, their owner is taking dead money like nobody's business, or chances on eating shit money that these guys don't want to do.
The Rams as well. And guess what? If the Rams on another day, they might have beat the Eagles and they might have gone on to win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
So
that game was a coin flip at the way that it ended. So listen, you got to be.
Maybe that's the formula they're trying to distract us from with the tush push.
Maybe. I think that's what that is. Yeah. And
especially the Packers, right?
Yeah, like who's supposed to take the brunt of the Packers dead money? That is so weird. Like who does front the bill for them? That's what I need to know.
Well, I guess it probably means that they have. That's probably why they have to work in a business sense the way they do. Is they probably do have to be more pragmatic about their money and stuff because they have to, a lot more owners in a way.
Wouldn't have to do that if you just had an actual real owner, but they would probably fuck it up. The brand.
Good luck convincing those people.
100%.
I
mean, it's worked pretty well for them historically. I think they're doing it.
They're doing all right.
I mean, but you could argue that they've not maximized the potential they have.
There's that. There is that.
But the Packers.
You know what they should do is they should get an owner / GM.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason they don't though, is because maybe there's a chance that somebody could, but there's a lot of odds that say it's not.
100%. All right, well, gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys today. Join us again next week. Will we do some free agency preview stuff? I don't believe free agency starts next week. When is free agency?
Let me the draft, right?
No, it's before the draft. I believe.
I get confused between that and basketball. And
March 12th. Hey, guys, it will literally be on
Wednesday.
Oh, so it'll be that morning or that day. So we'll have stuff to react to.
It
starts at 3 p.m. our time that day. So maybe
we will have
whatever.
Stuff to react to.
You mean the deals that are already done? They just
announced.
I think there's some that I don't think the NFL is quite like the NBA was, where they had to put like a more like actually make people stop doing that. But I do think that there's probably gonna be a couple. Well, they did at least 1 year. I don't know if it's going to continue. They definitely did.
They came down on like the Wizards or something for it, and then
they actually made them all wait. This I think it was this last year. They all had to like wait, and we didn't get news until they just weren't allowed to leak it.
Okay.
So no, I mean even Shams and Woj didn't tweet out deals for like an hour, like almost after the deadline, after the free agency period opened, and we were like, "Are our phones broken? What the fuck is there?" And they were like, "No, they're taking it seriously." No, what?
Yeah. So the legal tampering begins on Monday, March 10th.
Legal tampering.
Yeah, so we'll get the
moratorium is what they call in the NBA.
It's like a perfect example.
Probably the same term here.
Pretty much. yeah, but we'll break down whatever does break news on Wednesday.
Yeah, DK Metcalf to the Cowboys for a 7th.
Maybe even a 6th round pick for next year's draft.
Yeah, we'll throw in 2. I'm good with that. Call it in.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I'm done. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And next time I'm on here, I won't be in seething pain.
Well, you never know.
I think the best part is you came on just talking about being in pain, and we haven't at all said why. And I'm just going to end the recording before you can. So
I'm not even going to say why.
As Vin Diesel said, I knew I'd come a long way from home, but this is Brazil.